Work it, make it, do it, make sense.
So I'm gonna present you like basically how you could build a conversational app, chatbots, how we call them. But before I have this little disclaimer for folks who will watch this video online later. So if you are watching this video at your home and you own a Google Home device, please mute it because I'm gonna interact with it a lot, so I don't want to get in trouble with you because otherwise it will activate yours online. So for this talk, we're going to design and build a chatbot, and I'm going to use an example, of course. So for this example, I'm going to use a Google Home, which is this device, and then we're going to use the Google Action SDK, like APIs, to build our chatbot. And of course, we need a use case. So for our use case, we're going to build a conference agent, like a chatbot, which will help us find talks, find more like information about speakers, topics, all the stuff. By the way, let me try it, check if it's working. Hey Google, talk to my conference agent.
Sure, here is the test version of my conference agent.
Hi, I'll be your conference guide. I can help you find a talk, list all topics, or know more about a workshop or a speaker. What would you like to know?
Give me the 2 most popular topics.
The 2 most popular topics are methodology and culture with 18 talks, cloud, containers, and infrastructure with 17 talks. What topic do you want to learn about?
Find all talks about methodology.
Sorry, I couldn't find any session about Bible talks about methodology. Is there another topic you'd be interested in?
Find all talks about methodology.
The next session about methodology is called This is Devoxx UK. Would you like to hear more about it or hear about the next session?
Yes, tell me more.
Sure, here is more information about This is Devoxx UK. The presentation was given yesterday at 9 a.m. in Gallery Hall. The abstract says, join the organizers for all the essential info on how to make the most of your 2017 Devoxx UK experience, and possibly a few surprises too. Would you like to hear about the next session?
Send it to me on my phone. So if it goes well, I will receive an SMS with all those information.
I just sent an SMS on your phone. Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, thanks.
Sure, I'll be right here if you need me.
Okay, so that was our basic conference agent. So let's see how we designed it and we built it. But before we begin, I'd like to give a shout out to Guillaume Laforge. Who knows this guy? Okay, so he's a famous groovy guy. But now he works for Google on the Google Cloud Platform team. So he was actually supposed to be with me today for this talk, but he couldn't make it. So thanks to him. Anyway. A couple of words about me before we begin. So my name is Wassim Chegham. I do a lot of open source, as you can tell. You can find me on Twitter and GitHub as Manikineko. So if you want to follow me on Twitter. I speak a lot about these technologies. So if you want to catch me after the talk and talk about, let's say, Firebase or Angular or whatever, feel free. I'll be happy to answer your questions. I work for a company called Sphere in Paris, in France. I'm a front-end engineer there, and we are an engineer company. We do care a lot about developers and the culture of developers. So, anyone from France? Okay. So if you want to collaborate, ping me. I am also part of the Google Developers Expert in web. So I basically work with the web teams at Google. Like Angular, Polymer, and Chrome. basically acting as a bridge between them and the community, like us, you and us. Like giving feedback to you, giving feedback back to the team. Yeah, basically it's like kind of a developer advocate role. Um, and I like to travel a lot and meet developers everywhere. So that's all about me. Now, let's go back a bit in time. And do you remember this? IRC. Who has already used IRC? Well, maybe still using it, actually. It's still um, used today. So yeah, with IRC, actually, we could already build our bots, like we call them commands, like / something. But those commands, those bots were kind of like had a limited vocabulary, like hard-coded vocabulary, but limited. They didn't use like any machine learning or deep learning techniques to really understand our like natural conversation, human conversation. But today, and like we call them the new generation of bots, uses like different tools. For instance, here's the API.AI website. So this company was bought by Google a couple of months ago, probably. So basically, you can build your bots with this tool without any code, literally. We are going to have a look. By the way, I received my SMS. We are going to have like a deeper look at this tool during this talk. So this is this is other stuff we can do with.
This is Ben Lesh from the RxJS team. How can I help?
I want to group values based on time. Excuse my voice, I was sick that day.
I found two operators for you. The window time operator and buffer time
operator. Anyway, so that demo was like just to show you what other stuff we can do with these bots, like other use cases. So the new generation bots uses this machine learning stuff you probably have already heard of, which basically like a set of neural networks trained to really understand our language, like the natural language. So here we have an example using the Google NLP, Natural Language Processing API, which basically you can use request the REST API to analyze your sentence, extract lots of different interesting informations. You could also probably extract the sentiment analysis, telling you if this sentence has like a good sentiment or a bad sentiment. For instance, if you have a support, client support, like people yelling at you, like your product doesn't work or this or that, you could use kind of APIs to really understand into your code, understand like if this feedback is good or not. So if it's good, it's okay. If it's not good, you can maybe forward it to a real human to talk with that customer. So this is really a game changer for the new generation of bots using text, but also as you saw with this Google Home device, I was interacting with it with my voice. So we have also a really, like these days, a really powerful voice recognition comparing to the old days. I don't know if you remember the Dragon Naturally Speaking software we used to use like back in the days to dictate some text to the computer. So these new APIs really work really well, even in if there's any noise or outside or anything, it will work really well. So thanks to this machine learning techniques, we now have really powerful bots we can use in our apps. So for this, we need to know some basic concepts because, like, it's a new way to interact with with machines. So we need to have in mind those concepts. So for this, I'm going to take really maybe probably stupid example. So here we have Hodor with Groot, obviously arguing about something really interesting. And yeah, as you can say, there is a conversation, there is like some sort of dialogue. So we're going to use this example. So for instance, when Groot says, "I am Groot," so this concept in in the bot world, is called intent, which is in yellow, and we can have some sort of entities. So here we have chosen a Groot as an entity, but an entity could be anything, like a color, a time, a date, some like names, anything you would like. You tag it as an entity, and of course Hodor respond back like, which is also an intent. So an intent is really what it means, like your intent, what you are trying to communicate. And of course, there is also another interesting concept, which is the context. The context is basically used to remember the history of this conversation. So as we saw in this here, starting from the beginning to the end, there is something happening between Hodor and Groot, and we are going to use the same concept to build our bot. So remember, intent, entities, and context. So for this, so as you saw from my demo earlier, so I'm human, I interact with the device, and then the Google action actually starts my real bot. So there is like two things happening. When you interact with the device, you're interacting with the Google action first, and then you tell it to start whatever bot you build, and then it starts, and then after that you can interact with that bot until you say like stop or cancel or whatever. I don't know if you see these little lines. These lines, like from when your bot starts until like when it ends. Okay, that's it. Hey Google, start my conference agent.
Sorry, I'm not sure how to help with that, but I'm always learning.
Great. Hey Google, start my conference agent.
Sorry, I can't help with that yet, but I'm learning more every day.
We'll get to this later. So my preview will like probably cancelled, so I need to run another preview. Hey Google, start my conference agent.
Sorry, I'm not sure how to help with that. I'm still learning.
Anyways, what I was trying to say is when your bot starts, you hear like small noise and at the beginning and at the end. So this is which is called earcon. So this is an audible sound telling you that okay, we're starting your bot at the beginning, and the same sound at the end that tells you that your bot is now off. So in order to build your bot, as you would do in any software development, you need to design first your bot. I hope everyone is designing your software first. So this is exactly what you are going to build. And then, of course, you develop it, you build it. And after that, you need to ship it. Because the bot I am using here is only as you saw, I had to run the preview process, and I am the only one who is previewing this. You are not, I mean, it's not distributed publicly. I will show you after that how you can do this. So it's good to know. But if you wanna like use the same bot and make it public to everyone, you will have to go through the approval process by Google, which takes a couple of days, and then you will like anyone will be able to install the bot into his or her device. So first of all, you need to design your bot. The first recommendation to have is to give your bot a personality. So this is really important. Like start by probably give it a name, or I don't know. Of course, you need to also to choose. Here I was using like a female voice. You have in total you have 4 voices, 2 male, 2 females. So you choose the one that corresponds most to your brand, which is like the core brand attributes. And then you need to have some sort of principles, like design principles that are really specific to your bot, to your needs also. And also, yeah, I said it before, you need to choose the style, the voice. Do you want your bot to have like a formal dialogue or informal? Is it like really you imagine your own style of like of conversations? This is really depends on who is your public, like your audience. Are you targeting like for business, for end consumers, for young people? I don't know. You need to choose that. And the last point you need to have is some sort of sketch. Some sketch, I mean by that, like have a sample dialogue. So yeah, if you don't want to end like this, you need to have like really some sort of start by like use any tool like Google Doc or Word or Notepad. Just write some sample dialogues. Okay, I need my bot to say this when I ask this question, and so on and so forth. And for that, always start by like what we call like the happiest path, like when everything goes well, not like my demo here. And also think about the first experience. So when the user interacts with your bot for the first time. So for instance, you want to probably tell the user, okay, my name is this, I can do that, I can help you with this. Really give any information that this first user can use and not feel like lost. But of course, that first user will become like a return user. So for that, you probably want to just give as much quick information as possible. And then, because this is like a conversation, like a dialogue with voice, there is no try catch. There is no error. Like there is no room for errors. You need to have some sort of backup fallbacks. For instance, when I spoke with the Google Home earlier, I asked for the agent. The device told me it doesn't understand. So this is some sort of what we call like repair, a conversation repair. And for the personality questions, it's also like a good point to include some sort of like small talks, small conversations, like hi, how are you? Who owns a Google device, like a Google Home? Okay, so I bet the first time when you set it up and started talking to it, like you ask some silly questions, like I did. Okay, so so for instance, hey Google, tell me a joke.
One joke coming up. Did you hear about the quarry that went out of business? They hit rock bottom.
It's not funny. Okay. So this is what like this is the an example of personality. So always provide some small, really some small talks outside of your like functional business design. You can find like more details about how you really need to design your bot. There is a link here, and you can get this checklist from the Google website. You also have like tons of resources on this website to guide you from like designing, developing, and building all what I'm going to show you. I will tweet the slides later on so you can get the links. So yeah, demo time, API.AI. So, okay. So API.AI is the service that I use to build this bot. So here we have our intent, I told you about earlier. We have the entities and we have other stuff. So we'll start with entities. So for this bot, I needed like, I've chosen to have 3 entities, like rooms, talk types, and topics. For instance, topics, not. For instance, rooms, like I listed all the rooms we have here in the building. So it's good to provide like a default name and then a list of synonyms. For instance, some user might say gallery hall or just hall, probably. So you need to tell the API agent that if someone says hall, actually this is a gallery hall. Or this is more relevant for the talk types. For instance, we can say hands-on or only workshop or labs. Like really think of what like the user might say. It's really hard. You can have like tons of synonyms, but try to add like any variation of any entity. So here I've built my own entities, but API.AI already provide you with some basic entities like dates, color, time, address, all these like useful entities that you might have in any conversation. And we'll see this really now. So here I have, can you see or do I need to zoom? Probably. Okay. So for instance, when I asked the agent, give me all the 2 most popular topics, it actually runs this intent because I have already provided a like an expression phrase sample. Give me the X most popular topics, and you see that the 3 here is highlighted in yellow because API automatically detected that this is a number, and then I've assigned it to this variable that I called popular topic number. Okay, so now each time I say give me the 10th most popular topics, in my variable popular topics number I will have 10, and then I can do whatever I want. For each intent I'm using here, there is this webhook checkbox. So webhook, as the name suggests, it will not provide a direct response like from API because of course I can like give a hard-coded response, but it's not really good. So I will request the response from my server, like because I need to request like to know what are the topics. So I need to request the Devoxx API, and for that I have a like a backend code that is running, and I need to request it directly from API.AI. So for that I need to use the webhook, and of course, because it's not all, I need to provide the URL of that REST API. So here my code is running on the Google Cloud Function, which we will see just after. So basically, you need to provide as many intent as your design or your functional design. For instance, when I say, okay, send it to me on my phone, I already provide some sample phrases and then request my webhook, and of course, it's the webhook which sends the SMS, not API.AI. By the way, the expressions that you provide, just like provide minimal expressions, and then API.AI, and this is like the power of API.AI is that it's using machine learning to train your bots. So even if I included like only 3 expressions, API.AI includes other variations of the same sentence. So for instance, if I say, please send it to me on my phone, okay, it will run the first sentence. I think, yeah, I have two slides at the end of the talk about the integration on the training. So let's go back to our demo. So I know the design part is kind of boring, but you really need to take some time and think about it, because this is going to be crucial for your approval when you will need to send your bot through the approval and review process by Google. I think you need to respect some basic guidelines, as you would do for any Android app or iOS app, by the way. So now let's jump to the code. So we need now to really build our like a concrete artifact. And for that, we need to think about the conversation. So here we have a couple of steps. Let's call them steps. The first step is when I interact with the device. Hey Google, talk to Devoxx. Sorry. Then this will go through the device and then interact with Google Action, which is this 4 circles, which is responsible of understanding the speech, transforming to text, running all the analysis on the text, and then extract the text, respond, and at the same time send that text to API.AI. And API.AI is responsible of matching your expression with the correct intent. So when you say like a sentence, this will match some intent. If it doesn't match any intent, API.AI will run this default fallback intent, which has a couple of hard-coded responses. And then, okay, so say, hi, welcome to Devoxx. So this is my agent started by API.AI. And then I interact directly with the agent. So remember when you hear this earcon, so my agent started, so I can interact with it directly. And because I needed to get stuff from the Devoxx API, I ran this through my Cloud Function code, which then requests the Devoxx API and then give me back the response, which then pass to a API.AI webhook, which then give it back directly to the device. Easy, no? So for this, I am using the Cloud Function, or the function as a service. Is anybody all right with this, or who already uses using Cloud Functions? or Lambda for Amazon or Azure functions. Okay, are you happy with it? Okay. So this is what you call the serverless architecture, um, where basically instead of deploying an app, you deploy a function which does one thing, like one um, particular process. So this is good for microservices, and the good thing is it's fully managed for you by by Google. So it auto scale and everything. Of course, you can use a VM or any other backend, but you will need to scale it yourself. You will need to manage it yourself. And here, like it's really like you pay when your function runs, comparing to like a VM or it's also open. So if you are familiar with JavaScript, any JavaScript developer in the room, okay, guys. So for the rest, you need to learn JavaScript. I think, I'm not sure, but I've heard that now Cloud Functions is compatible with Go. Maybe you need to confirm this. So if you're familiar with Go, you can write your functions in Go. But for now, and I did this, I wrote it in JavaScript. Like when I say JavaScript, it's Node and NPM, the whole stack. The good thing about Cloud Functions, it's that you can trigger them using like 3 different ways. The trigger that I used is the third one, like direct HTTP call. The URL that you saw on API.AI, that's what it means. Like I am hitting an endpoint, which then runs my function. But you can use any Cloud Pub Sub message, like Google Cloud App Sub, or storage. For instance, this is like a typical use case of function. When you build an app and then upload pictures, for instance here, when you store those pictures on Google Cloud Storage, this will then trigger your function, and probably you can use this function to build some thumbnails or send an email or whatever, or update the database if you want. So yeah, really think your functions as like small process, if I may say this. So for the developer experience, because this, like I was talking about Cloud Functions. The Cloud Functions run on the cloud, so you need to deploy your function on the cloud. But during the development process, this might take some time, like a couple of seconds, like probably some 10 or 30 seconds to deploy your function and run it, and 30 seconds, it's a lot when you're coding. So for this, there is 2 tools that you can use. The first one is called the Cloud Function Emulator, that you can install on your machine and deploy your function on your machine, like during the development process. And the second tool is called ngrok. So this is the emulator. Excuse me. The thing I like the most about this emulator, that you can debug your function using your favorite IDE or editor like VS Code, because this is really hard when you deploy your function to the cloud. If you have any error or any things that might go wrong, it's really good to debug. You will end up putting console logs everywhere or console errors everywhere. So this is really good if you want to debug your function on your machine. Yeah, the other tool is called ngrok. So basically, this is a tool that opens a tunnel to the internet, like from your machine to the internet. on the ngrok.io website. So you will have like a public URL which points directly to your machine. We'll see right now. So this is my I'm using VS Code here, Microsoft VS Code. This is all my function. I will detail it. We'll get into some details right now. So for those who are not familiar with Node and JavaScript, so Node comes with this package, this manifest package, where you can declare some sort of scripts that you can run. So here I have a couple of scripts like deploy, run ngrok, run the debug, and start the function. So each script is mapped to an actual shell command. So here I'm using the function emulator that I forgot to mention that you can install it from npm. So npm install functions. So here I have already started the emulator on my machine just by running npm start, which of course then starts the function deploy Devoxx with a specific trigger. So here it's HTTP, and my function is running on my machine. So it's okay for the error because I am using the get HTTP, but the API only accepts post requests, so that's fine. And then I will open another shell, maybe click this one, and run npm run ngrok, which will then give me here a random URL. Oh, sorry. Come on. So here I have my random URL. So in order to tell to API.AI to talk directly with my machine and not with my cloud function, I need to update the fulfillment URL with the one that ngrok gave me, and really specify the absolute path to my function like this, save. And now each time I interact with my bot, it will hit the code running on my machine. So let's test it. Yeah, probably a couple of words about the code itself. So here I will start from the bottom. I have declared all the intents that I have created on API.AI, and for each intent I have like a function that runs like let's say code. For instance, popular topics is this code here. So here I'm using like I have a helper that fetch the data from the Devoxx API, which is this URL with the right day, because Friday and Thursday. So I have both here, loop over this array, and use the fetch API to get the JSON response and store that in my schedules array. And of course I store everything in some sort of cache, local cache, in memory cache, just to avoid like in every request to avoid sending like requesting the like sending HTTP calls in every request basically. So all my intents have the same pattern. Okay, so fetch the API, filter by some predicates. So here I'm filtering by topics, and when I say okay, give me all give me all talks about Java. So here in topic I will have Java. You know what? Let me run the debug session live. Okay, so the debug process is running on port 5858. So okay, I will put a breakpoint here. Okay, so I need to say a sentence that will trigger this intent. So for instance, this is like talk by topic. Okay. So hey Google, talk to my conference agent.
Sure, here is the test version of Conference Agent.
Hi, I'll be your conference guide. I can help you find a talk, list all topics, or know more about a workshop or a speaker. What would you like to know?
Give me find all talks about Java. Okay, so it hits this breakpoint. I have Java in my topic. Here, this is my predicate. And here I have...
Conference Agent isn't responding right now. Try again soon.
So the function crashes because it didn't get the response. There is some sort of like 60, like 8 seconds timeout. I can't remember the figure. So yeah, I'm not going to explain everything, but this is how you can debug locally, which is really, really powerful. Up, there you go. Stop the debug mode. Okay, so just one last thing about the send SMS. So when I tell my device to send me all the information about some talk on my phone, I'm actually using the Twilio API, the Twilio service. Twilio? No. So it's a service that lets you like buy some phone numbers, which you can use like programmatically to trigger phone calls or SMS. You can also use Cisco's Tropo service. I think it's called Tropo. They have basically the same API. Okay, we have 8 minutes left, so let's go quick. So in order now to, okay, so you've designed your bot, you've built your perfect function. I forgot to show you the cloud function. So when you finish building your function, your cloud function, you need to deploy it. So for that, just go to the cloud function console and then create a new function, which is like here Devoxx. So in order to deploy your function, you can use like GitHub, upload a zip file, or just, okay, it's coming, just copy and paste your JavaScript code inside the inline editor here, which will show probably in a few seconds, and then hit save, and your function is ready. Just like if you like configured your function to be triggered using HTTP calls, just hit the URL and it will run your function. So in order to deploy the function, you could use it like this is the command line to deploy it in production using the Google Cloud tool, or if you're developing locally, you can use the functions emulator. So this is the page I wanted to show you earlier, but it's not loading, I don't know why. So basically you can copy paste your code here, or you have other ways to deploy your function. This is the trigger endpoint that Google gives you. And that after that, you really need to go through this process, like the approval process. It basically happens on the website also. So you need to provide a couple of information about your action, the audience, the description, the hot word, the trigger word. Like I called mine conference agent, so you can choose yours. And then once it goes public, you can use the Google Home app on your phone to like list all different apps or different services that are already public, or install new ones. This is the same app that you use to Chromecast your content on your TV. Really quick couple of words about API.AI. So I used it to build an agent for Google Action, but of course you can build the same agent for other services, for Cisco Spark or Facebook Messenger or Skype. All those services are already available. Of course, you will have to go through each like design guidelines of every specific platform. I don't know about Facebook's design when you design a bot, neither Slack. So yeah. Oh. The other good stuff with API, it's that you can use like lots of languages. So I developed mine using English, but you can use French or Spanish, whatever. It's also machine learning powered. This is really powerful. So you have to provide a couple of sentences and then train the rest. So this is the training section. For instance, when you say, let's say, okay, say this sentence, give me two most popular blah blah. If you think that this was not the correct sentence, you can tell it to the API interface, or fix, okay, so this is what actually not this intent but another intent. So here you can go and tweak the learning phase. So your bot can get like better and better over the time. These are some. Okay. A couple of resources, some design checklists, and one last. Just a bonus.
Read.
So here I'm using my camera, and
here is your text. R hat if William Shakespeare were asked to generate the Fibonacci or Jane Austen.
So basically here I used my laptop camera and then took a screenshot of the book, used the Google Vision API that converts the text, like using OCR, the image to text, and then send it back to the API.AI, which then played it. So these are some cool stuff that you can do with bots, not only like conversations. Anyway, thank you so much. We have 2 minutes left for any questions, or if you are hungry. But if you want, you can catch me outside if you have other questions, not on API.AI or bots specifically.